Welcome to Chalk Talk. Rob Valore there. I'm Andy Billman here. Notre Dame fan, sad. Buckeye fan, happy. Let's pick up your sticks. Yes, we'll be talking about the Buckeyes. How could you not? But then as we put the show together, Tommy Rees comes on stage. Stefanski is calling plays again. That was kind of, not a big surprise.
No
but we
surprise.
will discuss that. There's always going to be, from here until April, a lot of banter about the draft. I'll tell you what we've been noticing in the draft. If you like Hunter, it's been a good week. Hunter's been a lot of matching for the Browns this week. By the way, it will change next week, but Hunter's the hot name for this week. We will be talking about the AFC and NFC Championship, what we thought about the Lions' choke job, what happened to Andrews on that last play, and the Cavs are also playing basketball. Poor Cavs. They are playing basketball. They have had a weird week, but they're fine at the end of the day. They have lots of games to play. But for the first time this year, the injury list has mounted. No Mobley, no Okoro, and no Levert. We'll talk about all those things soon. But first, Tommy Rees is the OC. I want to just lead off with this quote, and I'll have you comment on it. Rees said in his presser about the quarterback situation, quote, "At the end of the day, the quarterback's job is to solve problems. You're going to be tasked with 60, 70, 80 times a game to make a decision in a critical moment. And so I've always started with the ability to make quick decisions and make the right decisions. So if you said one thing over the other, I want a decision maker at that position." Wow, someone with a take. Oh, my God. I love it. Your thoughts on Mr. Rees?
Well, hi there, Andy. It seems to me that he has common sense right there,
Yes,
obviously.
Like it.
And when he's talking about a decision maker, he needs someone with smart,
Yes.
somebody that's smart, and not to bring up old wounds, but an adult in the room, Andy.
Yes.
And we obviously didn't have that last year with the previous Messiah, or whatever you want to call him, the previous guy. So I love what he said. I know that a lot of people are going to lean into the kid from Alabama. I don't know if that's where you're going to go with that.
There needs to be some discussion. We'll get there. Milroe, to what Rob's hinting at, there is a Milroe thing that's real. The guy coached him. There's no question. I mean, the history of this league tells you it's a 50-50 call. There are examples of teams when there's a coach that matches that take the quarterback. Werfel comes to mind with Spurrier and so on and so forth. There's examples. So it's not surprising. It's not a given, though, either. Here's what Rees had to say about Milroe. As a person, I have a lot of love for Jalen and a lot of respect for Jalen. Obviously, we went through an entire season together, and when you're the play caller and the quarterback, there's a great relationship there. But I'm really not going to expand much on anybody in the draft right now. And just know that I have a lot of love for Jalen. I mean, he's very much saying, yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And I think that's a fair comment. I think Tommy is the first one since Schwartz. Because Schwartz comes off this way as direct, and it's nice. I like someone who's direct. When Tommy was at Notre Dame, he was direct, and this is good to see.
And I hope that Tommy and Kevin honestly have that they have a say-so in whoever we are picking, whether it's a quarterback at 2, a quarterback in the second round, or in the 5th, whatever, okay? I like what I've heard about him, and we heard today that Kevin's calling plays, which is no surprise, right?
Par for the course, and I'll tell you this. Rees said this too. I love Rees's quotes. This is a guy who finally says something that's substantial. Obviously, the evaluation process of the quarterback room is ongoing.
Yes.
I'll be involved in that. Thank you.
Yes.
Someone taking accountability. Like, hey, I want to give my 2 cents. This is good stuff.
One of the big things about Rees, and that maybe was glossed over, They said back to when Vrabel was talking about, they were saying he may go to New England. Tommy Rees is an excellent quarterback coach. Okay. He has done a great job working with quarterbacks. And I feel that with Stefanski, you need an excellent quarterback coach. And that's where with Van Pelt, they succeeded because Van Pelt was an excellent quarterback coach. Dorsey, obviously, we don't know what the hell Dorsey was.
Dorsey, if you want to sum up Dorsey, have him explain his route running for receivers, and that's didn't make sense. I still to this day I have no idea what he was trying to explain there. To Rob's point, Rees wants to be in the mix. Rees has no opinion saying it's not going to be collaborative. If it is going to be collaborative, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in. Yep. So I really want to make the decision on what I'm seeing out there. This is good stuff. The Browns need some direct input from coaches. Last year, it was too much of a mystery curtain. We need more hands-on. This is a good start. I agree with Rob. I actually think Rees is stronger than Van Pelt already. Now, look,
absolutely.
Product will prove on the field. Here's one note I'm going to have, and I like it. Rees has no problems mixing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Rees has no problem. And he was like this way in Notre Dame. He has no problem being a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's good for this team, and they need that on offense. And clearly Schwartz does that on defense. So to have someone with a little bit of, fire is good on offense. We haven't had that. Even Van Pelt was not that guy. Rees is. Mm-hmm. Rees is going to bring some fire to the offense. They need a little bit of that Parcells attitude. And you can tell it's got a little bit of that in him. It's good.
You felt with Van Pelt that he was not Stefanski's lackey, but he was in the background, right? He was just
total Robin to Batman. Yeah.
Right. Now, you could see with Van Pelt, it seemed like he had very little to do with, very little say-so, and it was Stefanski. I could see him and Rees. I could see Rees being very involved in this operation, and I could see him being a big decision maker. And we'll go way back to with Jeffrey's conversation. This could be a situation where him and Stefanski are collaborating on these play calls. Where yes, ultimately, Kevin has the sheet, and here's our top 3 plays and a 2-point conversion when the season's on the line. Obviously, I think the head coach makes the play call, but Tommy Rees may be the one that has those 3 plays dialed up. So I think he's going to be very involved. I love it. I think it's with all the crap we've dealt with, this has been something good to talk about. Good start.
This is the exact opposite of last year, where it was smoke and mirrors and mysteries.
Who was happy about Dorsey? Who thought that was good?
I'm going back to it. I just said 2 minutes ago. His explanation of route running to me is wow, just bizarre. They're just going to run organic routes. Wow. Okay. Jeez. How does that make sense? No, this is good. This team needs this edge. This team has gotten some edge on defense. They frankly could use a little bit more. That's for a different day. But the offense needs some edge. It just needs edge. Yeah. And this is
how much money you think that they cost Jerome Ford? I mean, Jerome Ford, if you look at the running game 2 seasons ago, that kid ran for 1,000 yards on that zone run offense that they ran with the banged up offensive line. And then let's and we don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but we've heard all this crap about Bill Callahan would not have left Cleveland and gone with his son if they wouldn't have got rid of Van Pelt. And I mean, and how it all fell apart. I mean, Andy, look at what they tried to do to cater to that guy, and anyone wonders why we were 3-14.
Yeah, there's another storyline we didn't hit today that I'll do next week. And we can do a whole thing on a stadium too, which we'll save for next week.
Oh, what are you going to do there? Holy shit on a shingle.
I think there's people that I love to listen to who are way underplaying that story of the power politics there, but that's for a different day. Back to this story.
That's a battle. That's a battle there, Andy. That's a whole show right there, man.
Real
button.
real battle. No, the change is here. When it comes to the running back room, I would hope Rees would acknowledge, thank you, Foreman, goodbye. Thank you, Pierre Strong, goodbye.
Oh, please.
Ford is a good 2 or 3. You need a legit 1. Ford is a good 2. Like, he's a good backup. Like, you put him in, he can do, like you said, 800 to 1,000. But when he's the lead back, he doesn't really threaten people. They need like a boof, jolt, scataboot. That guy from Arizona State.
Oh, I loved them all year. That's right.
Need some guy with some gumption. I mean, The Browns really, the other end of this too, though. And the reason why I was excited today about this whole thing with Rees, there's too much guessing on a team that's very obvious. And it's nice that he's being direct with us as fans. Like, yeah, I'm going to Senior Bowl. I'm going to Shrine Bowl. I'm going to give some input. You know what? Jalen, I like him a lot. He may not be the quarterback here. Thank God. Someone's actually saying something that's like, yeah, let's be realistic. Sure, wouldn't be crazy. I don't know. I got to see these quarterbacks. And then, good for Tommy. Yep. Instead of how many times we had guys, doofuses, say, this is my guy. I don't see anybody else. This is it.
Yeah.
Take this guy. That's it. And,
lip service, right.
Yeah, the turd ball. It's nice that Tommy's actually being objective and saying, yeah, I like Jalen. He's good. Let me see. We'll see.
How about, speaking of real quick on the Browns still, boy, what are we missing with Bubba Ventrone? I mean, our special teams were atrocious, and he's the head coach. He's the head coach of this college bowl game.
I'm chalking it up to this now, Rob, because there's no way the Browns allow him to go to that game if he's going anywhere else. So he's going to be coming back to the Browns.
Well, obviously, because he would have been gone the day. He would have been gone the day after, like the other two clowns, right? He would have been gone.
There's no way they would have let him go to a Senior Bowl to coach if he was associated with the Browns. So, if they thought he was going to leave.
Nope.
I'm just going to we can do a little bit on this now. Bubba Ventrone is getting a pass. If I were him, I would use your pass wisely. Special teams were fucking terrible.
Terrible.
Fucking terrible. If Prochet is back there next year, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
No way. No way. He can't be.
Schwartz, terrible.
Terrible.
He's wasting my time. I don't have energy for Prochet. Fucking terrible. Way. I can't stand that.
How about Hopkins? What are you going to do with Hopkins? He's got 2 years left.
I don't know. Bubba Ventrone's got to figure it out. He's got to get more kickers in here. If I fucking see that goddamn Prochet back there in his nervous waddle, catching the ball, I'm going to be like, God, this cannot happen again. And if that guy goes up there, you won't believe the fancy plays we're going to do. You don't have no fancy plays.
No.
He had a terrible season.
Nope.
Awful. Yep. I mean, awful. That said, he's coming back.
And he's regarded highly to be selected as the head coach of this Senior Bowl.
Right. He's fucking terrible.
And I mean, we must know nothing because our special teams were atrocious.
Awful. I mean, awful. How in the fuck could you? I could stroke out on Prochet. He is so Anthony Schwartz. It drives me crazy. Greg Little, For people who don't remember, Greg Little's this wide receiver who played for the Browns forever. He couldn't catch. He'd be going over the middle, couldn't catch.
Okay, calm down. Calm down. Let me remind you, we drafted Anthony Schwartz, but we could have drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown. Just think of that. Let me remind you of that. We passed on Amon-Ra to take Schwartz.
Bakua, all these guys. We don't pick up on these guys. And by the way, all right, now we're going down a rabbit hole. I would like to hear some updates on 2 players. What's going on with JOK? What's going on with Tillman?
Let me tell you, JOK is turning into the JFK files, Roswell. Not to make light of it, but we may find out who killed JFK first.
Yeah.
Because what the hell's going on with this kid? Why is it shrouded in why can't we find anything out about him?
And why can't he talk?
Where is he?
This is like 1960s press. Like, you're just going to hide him?
Why?
I don't know. I mean, Rob, seriously, I don't know. The Browns do strange things. And Tillman's another one. Where is Tillman? Is he okay?
I mean, what happened, right? What happened after the Steelers, of course, do what they do, knock another Brown out. We didn't see
knocking out. Muhammad Massaquoi is rubbing his shoulder, saying, "So sorry, I've been there." I mean, poor like Cribbs. I mean, McCoy, the latest one now. Oh my gosh! I mean, it just look. And Nick Chubb, obviously, the Steelers. Look, I'll do this. If for people who are inside the Cleveland bubble, nationally, the Steelers have this, I call it Saint Steeler, because it reminds me of the Cardinals. Cardinals in baseball have this golden appearance. They've kind of lost it finally.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of the Steelers, like Saint Steelers. It's like, this is a dirty team. They knock out the players every year. And we don't say anything. The Browns don't say anything.
No. Fitzpatrick is a criminal. You see the way that they tackle, the way that they go for guys' knees, and every year, every game, and how nobody is up in arms about it. It's a shame. I mean, he's taking guys' livelihoods. It's a shame.
I want someone for the Browns to defend the Browns. Say like it's not good. Yes. Seriously, this is like a hat. Like, Hazel wants to get some color outside of stadium talk at Watson. Go in there and be like, you know what? I got to bring up an issue. What the fuck's going on in Pittsburgh knocking out our players every year?
Right.
Here's the list. It's not short. It's very obvious.
Somebody would be a hero. I don't give a shit who it is. It could be Diabate if he just leveled that son of a bitch. Knock him out.
No.
Okay, let me say this. Yesterday,
I don't think I was about the Browns today.
The Titans, they got rid of Carthon, and they kind of cleaned house. And the new president and GM, they kind of, and I don't know which one, but they both spoke yesterday, and I heard some very interesting news on ESPN. The one guy, and I can't remember his name, they have the first pick, right?
Titans are number 1.
Okay. And he said on ESPN to one of the reporters, we cannot pass up on taking a generational talent. So if you're listening to him, okay, now of course, you got to listen to a lot of lip service, blah, 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 blah. But what is in this draft, the generational talent above all of these other guys is Travis Hunter. Do you agree with me?
It's got to be Hunter.
It's got to be Travis Hunter.
And he's picking up steam.
Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me that they need a quarterback, but take the one guy said you can't pass up on a generational talent, and the other guy said you take the best player available. So so you don't know what they're telling you, okay? So if they take Travis Hunter at 1, okay, what are you doing at 2? Still getting out of there?
I'm telling you, there's a lot of, and I'm not surprised. I think Hunter is clearly the best player in this draft. I really do. I think he is that unique.
Okay, I think after all this stuff that's going on, if they don't take him at 2, I'll stay there at 2 and take him.
Yeah.
And how about I'll be the first to admit, Andy, I will admit to you, I was dead wrong, and we're supposed to get into this later in the show. I was wrong about Will Howard. I thought he wasn't that smart. He was a buffoon. Boy, did him and Ryan Day prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Will Howard, but where is he going to go?
I mean, there's some interesting. All right, so let's go down this rabbit hole. There is a lot of mocks mocking the Browns getting Hunter. The one thing I will asterisk the Titans. I can't asterisk this for the Browns. The Browns get a lot of savior from Myles Garrett being on the team. And the reason why I say that is he's a true top 10 NFL player. The Titans don't have that. The Titans really don't. They don't have any names. So there's a problem.
Mason Rudolph.
Warren Moon on Alumni Day. I mean, anyways, Jerry Glanville.
I loved him. Loved him.
Jerry. You know what? I have a cell phone. We'll have to bring him on the show.
My God, that'd be legendary.
Fucking character. Anyways, great storyteller. Anyways, back to this though. You know, the Titans are really at a crossroads because they really could use a franchise quarterback. A wide receiver and Hunter, yes, might be the right. By the way, I think is the right selection. For the Titans, I would actually say as a fan, if I were a Titans fan, it doesn't mean you're going to win. It means you selected the right player. You might go 3-14 again. The Browns, however, because of Judy and Njoku, if you take a Hunter and you get your mindset right and you take, I'll even dare say it, even though I'm not the biggest fan, Cousins, Daniel Dimes,
right.
Browns can win 8 or 9 games. It's starting to feel a little more positive.
Right.
I don't study the Titans enough to make much more of a comment, but from what I can tell, I don't feel like the Titans are that close. That's why I think the Titans are in a real pickle. I don't know what I would do there. And by the way, they might trade down too. I don't know. That sounds like a GM is ready to trade down too. And that's something obviously the Browns, by the way, Browns could obviously, and by the way, Kiper said that in his notes. He goes, I am hearing a lot about the Browns trading down. So that's something we all got to realize too.
Well, here's the thing. You got to find the right partner who wants that pick. The Raiders would be obvious, but the Raiders right now aren't.
All over the place.
The Cowboys still don't. I mean, if they hire Brian Schottenheimer in Dallas, that'll be a disaster. The Raiders the Cowboys are a mess. So here's what you were just saying. If I could analyze that, the Browns sat at number 2, and they're closer than everyone thinks, and Garrett came out and said that. It would behoove us to take Hunter at 2 if he's there and go out and get, although I don't agree with Cousins, but Cousins, Fields, Danny Dimes, Mariota, my boy Sam Howell. I don't want Russell Wilson. Get one of these guys. One of these guys. I'll take Zach Wilson. Get one of these guys that is. I don't want Jacoby Brissett for the second time.
No, but Jacoby, I'll raise my hand. Winston and Jacoby are the same people. We're good. Like, we don't need to do that rodeo.
Yeah. So, because here's the thing: if you take here's the way I see it. If we take Cam Ward or Shador, I think we're taking a flyer on 25.
I would say this, and that's the job of Barry. I've seen a lot of Cam Ward. I don't think Cam Ward's the guy, but that doesn't mean I'm right. I've done this too long to know that. I like Sanders. I don't love him. I do like him. So if they took him, I'd be like, that's good. I don't think it's a Flyers season, though, because they're going to have to take a quarterback somewhere. The problem with the Browns is they need to be very select on the whole plan from top to finish. And then last year it was all about Watson. This year needs to be about the team. And by the way, part of that team, they need a great defensive tackle. They need some. Ogbo is not a defensive end. I know a miserable signing. Like an Alex Wright, not healthy. Like Isaiah McGuire is a good backup. Like they need another edge rusher. Like there's some things on this team they need. So like I'll go another way. If they took Carter or the kid out of Michigan, okay. Like that makes sense too, because that's a real strength for this club. So
but I think you could get out of 2 and take.
Oh, that's all no doubt. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and I think you could even get out of 2, move back, and maybe somehow get Carter and Pierce. You could really go crazy, or get Banks and Pierce.
Yeah,
but you don't want the offensive linemen at that high.
I just think the one thing the Browns have to do, because it is about winning. If Sanders and Ward really is the guy, then take him.
Okay. Now, real quick, and I don't want to jump around too much. People go nuts about this number 2 pick and the quarterback in Jaden Daniels. I'm going to tell you what made Daniels special and why Jaden Daniels is who he is later on in the show. Okay. And it's sickening that the Cleveland Browns and Paul DePodesta and Jimmy Haslam and Dee Haslam and the billionaires that they are not smarter than Jaden Daniels, LSU, a company out of Germany, and the Washington Commanders. That is what made Jaden Daniels leaps and bounds better than everybody else, okay? It's a little teaser for later on in the show. So that is the key. So his practice, what he's doing is what makes Jaden Daniels Jaden Daniels. So moving on from here, Andy, I think we're in a good spot. I think if Hunter's there, you got to give me a haul. You give me a haul, I'll move out. But I don't just trade out just to trade out.
Yeah, the only thing the Browns have to do, if they really think Sanders is the franchise quarterback to be, take it. Don't be afraid, take it. If you no, it's up to them. I'm not there at these evaluations. Again, I like Sanders. I'm very neutral on Ward. I don't know. But I like Sanders. I would take him. If he thinks he's there and he's a great quarterback, take him. But for wins and losses next year, it's Hunter, it's Carter, it's Graham. Those are the players that really make a difference to make you wins and losses next year.
And I think there's guys later on in the draft that you may be able to get that have shown that they could be just as good, and you could develop them. I'm telling you, that run, I always thought Will Howard had the physical acumen to do the job. You know, he was big. He had the good arm. I just didn't think he was very bright. I just did not like his decision-making, and I just didn't love the kid. But, man, the run that team went on and listening to the words that kid spoke, I really have to take back what I said about the kid, because I tell you what, kudos to him and Ryan Day and that whole team, because I was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I would.
There's a lot of examples in sports when those happen. And the Buckeyes, we'll jump ahead. You know, the Buckeyes, there's a lot of redemption in sports. Losses can really fire up a team. It really can. It can make a team focus. And the Michigan loss, that's why I always said there's an opportunity for Ohio State to get this all back. And that Michigan loss did it. I think it really focused them.
Absolutely.
It really did. And again, there's a lot of examples in sports when that happens. A loss just simply sets a team down. There was a great show that I was a part of from afar about the Lady Vols, and they lost a game, and then they didn't lose again. And Pat Summitt and Shamika Holtzclaw always talked about like that loss really settled us down to get focused for the run. And there's a lot of examples like that in sports where it just takes a loss. There's a year Arizona won the tournament, and it took a loss. And against UCLA, it's like that kind of got our asses in gear, kind of what we need to do to go on a run. Like it just happens in sports. And I think that's what the Buckeyes needed away. The one thing I'll add to the quarterback room, which makes it more interesting, and I didn't see enough of him this year, saw enough of him last year. We talk about growth. McCord has clearly grown. He had a very good year for Syracuse. He performed well at the end of the year. He does have size, and he does look the quarterback. Now, he stunk for the Buckeyes. I don't know what happened last year. Kid wasn't good. They made the right move. Will Howard is the guy they needed in here. Clearly, one of that. But McCord grew. Sometimes that also happens in sports. Sometimes you need to get settled down, and sometimes you have a transformation. McCord is being a scuttlebutt a lot this week. A lot of people impressed with them. And I'm fascinated because I thought that quarterback would be Gabriel from Oregon. It's not. Gabriel's not getting a lot of chatter. It's McCord. McCord's getting a lot of chatter from scouts, which is interesting to me.
His decision-making, I watched a lot of their games. Sometimes his decision-making was kind of scary. He had a couple of games where he threw some bad interceptions, but he did throw for a ton of yards. And here's the thing, Andy, Syracuse, their schedule wasn't quite as tough as ours. The
ACC stunk. Okay.
Let me say that. So McCord did tear it up on a little lighter schedule, but he is a guy that is intriguing, and I will say, that Gabriel, I'm surprised as well. But I think that he's got a couple of things working against him. One, up until this year, Gabriel, his numbers weren't really fantastic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Gabriel has not been.
I just think Gabriel might have more. He had such a poor performance, but I actually like what I saw from Gabriel. McCord's last year in Ohio State sticks in my brain. I just didn't think he was good.
Yeah.
And I know he played better, and I applaud the young man. I think that's kind of fugazi with him. I'm kind of with you on that. I think Milroe is fascinating. I don't think the Anthony Richardson comparison is fair. I think he's better than Richardson. He's had more games than Richardson. Richardson had like a handful of games. It was kind of like a mystery of Florida. Milroe, you kind of know what you got. And the kid did play in big games in Alabama. And it's
totally not fair because he played a lot of games in Alabama. Absolutely not fair.
Yeah, I've heard some of those. I think that's kind of lazy comparisons. All that to be said, it's good to see that Rees is here. Obviously, we have a lot. Here we are. What are we at in time, Chalk? We are 30 minutes in, 30 minutes on the Browns. So there's a lot to discuss here at the Browns in future weeks. It's good that Tommy Rees sparked some energy in this conversation, and I like that a lot. Myles is up for Defensive Player of the Year. Are you into this? Do you care? I'm kind of into it. It'd be nice for him to get back-to-back Defensive Player of the Years. There are some people that think he's going to win it, which is interesting to me, and people who know this stuff.
Yes, it's a shame that the team was so shitty. I think if he deserves to be in the running, absolutely. Absolutely good for him, and I think that's something good that would come out of this year.
Agreed. One more time, good for Myles. Hope it happens. We'll have to see. I think it'd be good. I do think Myles next year. I love these accomplishments. I'd love to hear more about beating teams with Myles. I'd like to hear more about winning games with Myles. We hear a lot about individual accomplishments, and that's great. And he's earned it. And he's a nice man. Want to hear more about teams. And he said that at the end of the year, too, to be fair. So there we go. Yeah. Okay, AFC NFC Championship. We're going to do a hard transition. We can go many different roads. I'll take the two lighter ones. KC did what they had to do. The refs are annoying. The Texans weren't good enough. Texans defense showed a lot of improvement. Bop, 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 bop. At the end of the day, I would really give this a, hey, Kansas City is on their way to the AFC Championship game. Texans are still getting closer, but not that close. Away we go. I have much more to add on this. I didn't think the Texans were going to win. They didn't really – I mean, they had the weirdest cover of all time as the safety, which one guy got burned here with that. But anyways, I don't have much on Kansas City. Made sense. They won. Eagles, I knew the Rams were going to put up a fight. I've actually liked the Rams all year. I like McVay. McVay, for some reason, has disappeared as this genius, and I think the kid can coach.
Yeah.
So I like the Rams. I thought the Rams did exactly what they were going to do. They were going to fight. They played hard. They almost pulled it out. Just turnovers killed them. Both those games kind of played out what I thought. Your thoughts on
Houston, you couldn't have said it any better. Houston, nobody really thought they were going to win. I thought, I thought they would cover. Kansas City usually plays one-score games. I thought they would cover. Not much else to be said there. The Rams, you got to love McVay. He is one of the best coaches. And when the Rams won the Super Bowl, they kind of sold their soul to get Stafford, and they made a bunch of moves. And everyone thought McVay was going to kind of like retire. He was going to kind of quit. They thought he was going to hang it up because the team was going to suck. They were kind of in trouble. And he didn't. He didn't. And he stayed. And they've really done a good job of retooling. And that defense is young. And Shula, the defensive coordinator, they did a hell of a job. And Stafford, in cold temperatures, I was hoping they would have pulled it out. They battled. Barkley's a beast. Yep. You know, it's too bad that they didn't win the game. But yes, the turnovers bit him in the ass. I would have loved to see him pull it out. But I love McVay. He's a hell of a coach. And Stafford's that kid's he's an old man now, but he's a hell of a quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think McVay and the Rams have one more run in them. I really do. Now, to the other two. Let's get to the fun one. It was great seeing the Ravens lose. It was great seeing them just spit the bit like that. I was surprised because I've seen a lot of the Ravens this year, as we all know, barf. This has kind of been the Ravens season. They play really well and they lose games sometimes. That's kind of what the Ravens do, and it's fucking great. Reminds me of the Browns game. It's like they played well, but the Browns won. I don't know. And it's kind of what happened here with the Bills. The Andrews plays, though, are going to stick. I don't think this should be taken lightly. We've been through this as Browns fans. That fumble was bad. That drop, whoa. Warning you, Ravens fans, that could stick for a while. That is a play that can really shake up a player. Talent, don't know the man very well, so we follow the Browns. But that was critical. The Bills did what they had to do to win, which is kind of what I figured they'd do. And, people have been debating, well, Lamar Jackson's going to win a championship. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not sold on Jackson winning a championship. It's not because of Jackson. It's because of the Ravens.
Right. Okay. First of all, let me unpack this. McDermott, in my opinion, got lucky because when Buffalo had the ball down on the 2-yard line, you're playing the Ravens. He elects to kick the field goal to make it an 8-point game. He got bailed out because, first of all, Andrews should have caught that ball, would have been tied, and then who knows what would have happened. You have got Josh Allen, who was one of the biggest, best, most physical running quarterbacks in the league. You've got Cook. You've got a hell of a running back. You've got Knox and Kincaid, big tight ends. I'm the coach, if I'm the offensive coordinator, Andy, I'm pushing that ball in the end zone. And if got to score a touchdown there. That's just my opinion. And if you don't, you got to make them go 99 yards. He got bailed out. If that will bite him in the ass. If he does that shit this weekend against the Chiefs, he's going to lose. Moving forward. Well, hold on. Andrews, what the hell was he doing when he caught that ball? Where was he going? He was going the wrong way. I know
he had a rare bad game.
Oh, so then he's trying to make something happen. So he turns around, and then that play, that 2-point conversion, and I understand everybody is blaming Andrews, but if you really look and unpack that play, that wasn't a great pass by Lamar.
No, but
it was catchable, but Lamar was at fault too. I mean, it wasn't, yes, he should have caught it, but it was. Here's the thing, in my opinion, McDermott got lucky because if Andrews catches that ball, Ravens win that. I think the Ravens win that game.
No, the Ravens did what they've done all year. They look like the better team. They've had some losses that are just bizarre. They started the year that way. They actually played really well against the Chiefs. I don't know how they lost. But they had multiple. I mean, I saw it against the Browns. That's why when people kept talking about the Ravens, I'm like, all year they've had some head-scratching moments. It hasn't been a clean season. They are wasting Lamar Jackson's talent because I thought he was the MVP this year. I thought he really played well. I don't think your comments are incorrect about his throw. It was not perfect. Got to make that catch, though. Sorry.
Yeah.
Got to make that catch. It's a cold night. You got to make that play. And again, I'll tell you, someone who watches players take hits, Lamar's going to have to start sliding or he's not going to be around much longer. He's going to have to start taking some slides. He is a tough quarterback, though.
He is.
But I at some point, you're going to have to start sliding at some point.
And Andy, not to bring up old wounds, but you say, how may this affect Mark Andrews? How may this affect the franchise? Do you remember a few years ago when a wide receiver on a certain franchise in Arrowhead had a ball go out the back of the end zone on the Cleveland Browns?
Hollywood.
How did that? What happened when Rashad Higgins, when that ball went out of the back of the end zone? How did that affect the trajectory of the Cleveland Brown franchise? What would have happened if we would have beat the Chiefs? If Baker would have won that game, who knows what would have happened?
There's 2 plays in that game. That one and the Chad Henne run. Can't explain it.
Chad Henne. Oh, 3rd and 12 and Chad Henne. How do you bring that up? God damn it.
Ran like Rob and I would run trying to get out of a bar. I mean, just slow and clunky, and he made it. Anyways, the Bills survived. The Bills always play like this. I do like the Chiefs a lot in this game. And I say a lot. I know. Could the Bills win? Sure. Wouldn't be surprised. But the Chiefs just seem to throw pixie dust in the air and come out of it. And I've learned in sports, it isn't like we're talking about average talent. Reed, Hall of Famer. Travis Kelce, Hall of Famer. Mahomes, Hall of Famer. If you mess around with Hall of Famers, you're going to get burned. I just think the Bills, I just don't see it here with the Bills. And again, would it surprise me they won? No, they're due to make it to the Super Bowl. But I think the Chiefs will just they just sprinkle pixie dust. They just figure it out. They always do.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you, and I hear a lot of people say this, Andy. The Bills are the better team. The Bills are the better team. Josh Allen is playing great.
Okay.
Their defense is, well, I think the Chiefs' defense is better. Their Bills' offense is better. The Chiefs' offense, to me, I think has been like stuck in the mud all year. Their offense has not been great, Andy.
Offensive line's having some issues, yep.
I'm going to tell you everything points to the Bills winning this game. The Bills should absolutely win this game.
I hear what you're saying.
Josh Allen should win this game. They beat him in the regular season. They should absolutely win this game and go to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, but for some reason, there's no way they will. Kelsey is going to, in games like this, somehow, until prove us wrong, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Andy Reid will somehow, and I don't want to hear, and I understand Chiefs fatigue. And by no means am I sticking up for them and the referees and all this bullshit about Taylor Swift.
Sure.
I do understand the shit about the pass or the roughing the passer bullshit with Mahomes and Mahomes pulling up when he's going. I do agree with that. But Andy, you give credit where credit's due. Andy Reid, these guys, they get it done. Somehow, Kelsey, listen, if folks, take Kelsey's props, somehow Kelsey's going to go over 50 yards, 60 yards, 70 yards. He's going to get a touchdown. Now, the Bills know this. You don't think the Bills are going to have two guys on him? He's going to get open. I don't know how they're going to do it. The signs all point to the Bills. They're the better team. The Chiefs are going to win the game.
If it wasn't for Hall of Famers, I'd be on the Bills. The Chiefs have Hall of Fame stars and legends. You know, sometimes we don't use this word enough. Chiefs are legends. Montana, Walsh, Rice, Kelsey, Mahomes, Belichick, Brady. They're in that lore. Chiefs are in that lore. They are just an excellent team.
I said, I will not forget last year, and I says, I'm going to ride this. I'm not going to forget this. When they won the Super Bowl last year, Mahomes and Kelsey were standing there, and they were already talking about a three-peat. So if they're talking about a three-peat immediately after a Super Bowl, you know they're focused, okay? Andy, I don't know how. I don't know why. But I'm telling you, Reid will outsmart McDermott, and somehow they will get the job done.
I agree. I said the same thing. Pixie dust. Kansas City pixie dust. All right. So we're both in agreement about game one. Game two. What were your thoughts about the Lions' loss? I'll let you lead off this time.
Well,
or DC.
I've been well, we used to call them the Commodes, but I can't call them the Commodes anymore because I've loved them all. I've loved the Redskins all year long. They are the Washington is a freight train, and I think the Lions. Campbell lived by the sword and died by the sword all year. Goff just made some, the turnovers killed them. And why did they run that? Who the hell threw the ball? Jamison Williams. Why you run that play right there was a dagger. To have the wide receiver throw that football right there was inexcusable. But I said this 2 months ago, as much as I loved the Lions, Cleveland, you got to root for the Lions because they haven't won shit. They're the underdogs like us, but they just had too many guys hurt. The defense was paddling upstream with one arm tied behind their back. Aaron Glenn did a great job. But they ran into a buzzsaw in Washington.
They really did.
So I wasn't surprised because I was all over the Commanders. I had them money line. I had them every which way but loose. I'm going to go off here on a little tangent real quick. Andy, I pray to God saying the day before, Ben Johnson got hired by the Chicago Bears. I don't know if that's Ben Johnson's a great offensive coordinator. I don't know if he's going to be a great leader of men.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing I said about other things like this. Obviously, Atkinson had some experience, but I haven't said the time neutral. We'll see. I feel the same way about Johnson. It's neutral. I mean, he doesn't have much experience. He has no experience as a head coach. So I don't know. We'll have to see.
I don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Aaron Glenn goes to the Jets. The Jets again with another defensive coach. I mean, you see what happened. They fired Bobby Saleh, and they got worse. So,
well, we'll see. Here's the one thing about Glenn. There's a connection there. He played for the Jets. Mm-hmm. Again, I want to be fair to Glenn. I don't know him as a coach. We don't know what he can do as a coach. We'll have to see. The one thing I'll say about that hire compared to the Bears, I knew the connections were there. And to be transparent, the Jets are a bit of a mess.
A bit?
And that's not a very digestible situation. And even compared to their counterparts in New York, you can make an argument, even though there's more talent with the Jets, Giants actually might be more digestible because of the ownership group. Woody Johnson does not have vibes within players. And again, the Browns don't have a good reputation either, sadly, with free agents and sometimes agents, and the Jets are right there too. And I think that proved there in that coaching search.
So let me pray. Let me say this to you. I pray that Dan Campbell is not one of these coaches that is a product of his coordinators. I hope the Lions don't fall on their face this year, because their offense, was it all Ben Johnson? Their defense, I tell you what, was it all Aaron Glenn? I hope Campbell, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times these coaches, it's because I like Campbell, and I heard some people talking shit about Dan Campbell is up there crying after they lost. You can't make fun of the guy. That raw emotion, if you make fun of the guy, you're a real jackass at life.
No, okay? I agree. There's two coaches that I love the way they speak with their emotions. Tomlin and Campbell talk emotion.
Yep.
They speak to what I love. And again, there's debate about sometimes what these coaches do. Obviously, Tomlin has won a Super Bowl and been to multiple, so he's got a lot of cred. That said, there's been some debate about him too. And my always comeback is guy wins. I actually think Campbell will be fine. Now, you're going to take some things, and things change and whatever else, but it isn't like the Lions are dormant. If you're a hot shot offensive coordinator, you're going to want to go to the Lions. Why not? I mean, that's a great opportunity to win.
I think he elevated the offensive line coach, or he elevated somebody. So hopefully the system will pretty much stay intact. And I'm just not convinced. Ben Johnson's been a hot commodity for a couple of years now, but how many Josh McDaniels and how many guys were out there that were hot commodities that couldn't coach their way out of a paper bag?
See, I just have learned, because I don't follow the Lions and he's never coached, it's just impossible. Is it Norv Turner?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, great offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Couldn't coach. Didn't know what he's doing. Or is this really a guy who's ready to take the reins, like a Mike Holmgren, who was the OC and then finally got the job with the Packers? I don't know. It's hard to tell. We'll find out. I think if I were a Bears fan, I'd be, again, same with Atkinson. I was fine with it. Loved it. It's really worked out. The Bears, it could really work out. I mean, I'm not naive. It really could. Aaron Glenn made sense because of his background. I actually wasn't surprised that happened. And Glenn has a little bit more of a biting attitude, which I think the Jets want with Rodgers. So I actually
but is Rodgers going to be there?
Well, I mean, I don't follow the Jets enough to know. I don't. It sounds like he's gone, but I mean, I think they wanted someone to pound the pavement. I mean, look, we discussed the Browns. Jets are a mess.
And back to Ben Johnson. If I'm Chicago, I'm surrounding him with ex-head coaches and I'm giving him a veteran coaching staff to help him out.
Yeah, the one thing the Bears Browns battle, and it's not good. And I love these. See what I'm saying? This is going to create some ruckus, but I'm being truthful. I love the 80s Browns, okay? Love them. The 80s Browns are our heroes. It's been 40 years. The Bears are the 85 Bears. They haven't really outlived that moment. The Bears have even been to a Super Bowl, and you don't even know about it. So the Bears and Browns are kind of stuck in the 80s, and hopefully the Bears need to get out of it. And honestly, the Browns need to get out of it. Like, it's like who's the legend in the last few years? Outside of Myles Garrett, it's been Bernie Kosar. It's been Ernest Biner. Yeah. It's been Hanford Dixon. I mean, those are our guys. Clay Matthews. Like, those are our guys. It's really not been. The Bears are even more stuck in the 80s.
Bad, yeah.
They really need a coach to get out of that era. Like, it's just.
Well, can we count Jay Cutler?
He's excellent and very available. Very available. Oh my!
He's not in jail for his last DUI or nothing, is he? No. Go ahead.
Well, it happens, Anyways, okay.
And real quick, Bruce Arians, he was a head coach and he didn't work out.
Yep.
And then he came back the second time and became the head coach of Tampa Bay, but he had a good quarterback, I think, in Tom Brady, and then they ended up winning it all. Yeah, but that helps.
That helps. Again, it's just I just have learned too much. Like, no one said boo when Harbaugh was hired for Baltimore. Look at Baltimore. Everybody questioned the Steelers when they hired Tomlin. Look at that. And everybody loved Spurrier going to the Redskins. He was terrible.
Oh my God, terrible.
So you just don't know. I just have learned unless you have a proven commodity like a Jimmy Johnson, something like that, you just don't know. So that's why it's like if people get too high or too low, and Ben Johnson's like, it's not being fair. Kind of be equally a brim. Same with Glenn. The only thing again with Glenn's is connection. All right, DC and Eagles. I think the line's 6.5 for the Eagles. I have a very good vibe on the first game. I know Rob does too. I can feel it. I am very much in the dark. I have not been impressed with the Eagles as other people have been. Outside of Barkley, I think Barkley is a star. I think he's an absolute star. In fact, outside of the quarterbacks, he's the best player left. He's that good. He's much better than Hurts. That said, Eagles make me nervous. DC is, boy, you talk about house money. They got nothing to lose. You can let it all hang out. I think DC playing indoors helped them last week. This will be outdoors. I know they're an outdoor club. I think that hurts them here in this spot. I'm only taking the Eagles, and I'll give the points because of Barkley, and I think Daniel's experience bites them. Outside that, though, can I see DC win this game? I'm now there. Yes, I can. I couldn't see him beating the Lions. I was dead wrong. I can see Daniels and DC winning. I really can.
Okay. Here I go, and I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to let me start with Jaden Daniels. Okay. Sure. And I said this earlier on, Andy, how the Browns, in their analytical, DePodesta, money-spending idiots, do not know this or haven't picked this up. Last year, when Jaden Daniels was in LSU, he started using a product out of Germany. It's VR, virtual reality practice, right, where this guy is practicing every day. The offensive coordinator is calling plays in his head, and he's running through. Wow. He's practicing in the plays in his head every single day. He attributes his success to he took that to Washington. Okay,
Smart.
So it's not coincidence. Jaden Daniels is so comfortable in the pocket, and he's so far ahead of everyone else. It's not Jaden Daniels has seen everything Detroit and Minnesota. He's seen everything they've given him all week long, okay? That's why this kid is so good. It's a product out of Germany. Why every team in the NFL has not adapted this yet, it's criminal. How much money it costs, it does not matter.
It's like Larry Bird shooting jump shots at Boston Garden. I agree.
Andy, I swear to God to you, 6 o'clock in the morning, if you, anyone watching this podcast, I swear to God, you look this up about that kid, it's so impressive. More people should learn about this. Cliff Kingsbury is in his head. They're calling the plays, so he's running through so it's not quite as physical on him, Andy. He's not standing out on the field, but he's running through it in a VR game, okay? The crowd noise, everything, the actual game, the everything, okay? So shame on the Browns. Shame on the rest of the NFL. Hopefully, I mean, good for the Commanders for not
that. I didn't go in depth. I knew about the VR, but I didn't go in depth into what you knew. Let me just say again, for people, I referenced Larry Bird. Larry spoke about this often. That's why I respected Bird as a player. He practiced. All he did was practice. He would go to Boston Garden. And in '86, there's a famous shot of him jogging around Boston Garden before they're playing the Rockets in the finals. And someone said, well, what are you doing? He goes, I just don't want to play. I just want to keep playing and shooting and playing and shooting. Jordan had that mentality. I know Johnson did. And I'm sure there's players today do too. Clearly LeBron does, by the way.
Yeah.
By the way, he keeps himself and Brady, by the way.
Of course.
But my point is, like, give Daniels credit for being able to see the future and use it properly. And he didn't go to the Bahamas. He didn't take guys out in his boat and fucking go in shorts. And I'm not saying Watson's a bad guy for doing that, but it's silly. Listen to what Rob just said. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Okay. So take that. Now listen. In my opinion, the Eagles were very lucky to win last week. Okay. You had 2 turnovers by the Rams.
Yep.
Even though Saquon had 200 yards rushing, Jalen Hurts, their passing game was anemic yet again. Okay. Still anemic again. Okay. So Dan Quinn knows that. Now, in the last 4 games against the Eagles, the Commodores are 1-3, but they've lost by 3, 7, and 8 points.
Yep.
Okay. So those are all tight margins. If you're inclined to take the 6.5, which of course I am, I think you should take the money line.
Oh, you have to.
Here's my cap. The Commanders are going to win this football game.
Wow.
They are going to put Jalen Hurts in passing situations. And if you make Jalen Hurts throw the football, the Eagles are going to get nervous. Okay? And if the Eagles get nervous and he gets nervous, it just, since week 2, it's just seemed like the Commanders are a team of destiny. I got to ride them. I'm going to take the Commanders plus 6.5. I'm going to take the money line. I'm going to go over in this game because I just think, Andy, I'm telling you, just like I can't explain about the Chiefs, I can explain about this Commanders team because Daniels is going to make it happen. He's going to move the ball through the air. He's going to move the ball himself. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to run much with Robinson and Eckler, but they'll get the job done. They're going to get the job done. And here's what Dan Quinn knows. Just like with Jokic in the NBA, you can beat Denver. Let Jokic score 50, but just don't let Murray and everyone else score.
Well, right. Barkley can't go off. Right.
Okay. If you can let Barkley let him get 100.
Sure.
Let him get 200. Okay. You're not going to totally shut Barkley down. You know that. But how do you contain Barkley? You get ahead, Andy. You make them have to throw the football. If they have to throw the football, that's how take Barkley out of the game. That's the only way.
I will say the one way I can see DC winning is that they put pressure on the Eagles. The Eagles are ready to wilt. I actually love the winner Chiefs Bills to win the whole thing. Outside of the DC really wins, the guy really starts thinking about Daniels a lot. But let's go. I think the Eagles win. They're not going to win. So I think the Eagles are just fragile on the passing game. I agree with you. Again, this is tough for me to pick because I think the Eagles' defense is very good, and they are healthy, and that is going to make a difference in this game.
Real quick, you know who isn't healthy, and they're not saying a whole lot about it? Jalen Hurts. That knee.
He's a weird player, very goofy. He's a and again, I feel bad because I know he gets picked on a lot. And I know his exit out of Alabama wasn't perfect by any means. I'm not anti him as a guy. I'm anti him as a quarterback. I don't.
If he can't run on Sunday, what kind of quarterback is he? And his knee is banged up. He didn't practice on Wednesday. I don't know if he practiced today.
I don't understand Jalen Hurts. I thought his Super Bowl run was one of the more mysterious things I've ever seen. Reminds me of Jeff Hostetler. It's like, I don't know how this happened, but he did it. And it's like, and Jalen Hurts, see, I don't want to pick on a guy too much because here he is back in the NFC Championship game. So what do I know? I say all the time, I can't believe he's here. Like, I've seen the kid play in college a lot. I've seen the kid play. I think he's very average. I think he's a very average quarterback. And unlike Jackson, he can't take hits like that. Right. If he gets hit, he does go down. He's better than Tua, but I don't know. I can see we're on the same page with the Chiefs. I can see DC winning. I just think the Eagles defense has something in it, and I do think that makes a difference. I thought the Lions defense was so bad. I don't understand what they were doing. And I know they're banged up, but still, come on. You got to play a game. We'll see what happens in the game. You're making me a believer of DC after listening to you, though. I got to admit. I'm starting to drink the juice.
I'm telling you, Andy, they're a team of destiny. And Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels are playing chess, and everyone else is playing checkers right now. And if they could they want the ball and they want to get ahead of you, and I feel that they're going to outscore them. And don't let them get ahead of the Eagles. If the Eagles have to throw the ball, they're going to get blown out. I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right. Fast. Cavs have had a goofy week. The one storyline I think that sticks out, if you want to break down a Rockets loss, Garland missed free throws, and that was bad. Mitchell missed a lot of late game shots, and that was bad. It is one game. It's out of 82. I'll forget about it by tomorrow. I didn't even get fired up about it last night. It happens. But I will say, as someone watches a lot of basketball, I know Rob does too, the free throw thing is something to circle. Let's see if it happens again. I know the kid shoots great free throws. I know Garland's a great free throw shooter. That is something to circle. Watching a lot of basketball in my career, when guys miss free throws late, it can tend to be trendy. Hopefully that's not the case for Garland.
Andy, how much of that do you think was because he got banged? He got banged around the whole game.
Look, I know you and I, Jeffrey, at times we're on the same page about it. I agree with Brad Doherty. Brad Doherty said, I said the same thing. I don't understand what the refs weren't seeing. This was a bad boys type of game. Sengun was absolutely out.
He pushed Jared Allen right down. How there was nothing there. Pushed him right down.
Nunchucked his arms in the air on multiple plays. I haven't seen that stuff in a while. Where it's like,
their game plan? That was their game plan.
And by the way, that coach has that reputation. I forget his name.
Ime Udoka.
Ime Udoka does have the Rockets are 2 years away from being a big problem. They're not there yet, but they're 2 years away. And by the way, this is why I don't get too fired up. They have Mobley, they win. They have Okoro, Mobley, they definitely win. Levert, they would have won. I mean, the Cavs were very short-handed last night, and it showed in that game towards the end. Now, Cavs have to get healthy. I'm going to circle this again. Rob and I talked about this offline.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Real quick. What happened to what do you think happened to Porter? How come he's fallen? He's getting no time.
Tyson's better.
You think that's it? Just Tyson's better?
And Ty Jerome's having a really good year.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do? Put Porter at shooting guard? You can't do that.
No.
It's Ty Jerome needs those minutes. In fact, I could argue Ty Jerome needs more minutes, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just he just doesn't have the minutes. And when you watch Tyson play, Tyson needs minutes too sometimes. And Merrill needs minutes. And it's just it's poor Porter. It happens. Happens.
You know, and I hate I see Bates in uniform, and I want to see that kid get out there. You know, I just want to see that kid. I want to see what he could do. Yeah,
he played a little bit this week, and I forget what game it was. Was it the Suns? I think it was the Suns.
Yeah.
He's still raw. And that's not a bad take. But next year, you want to start seeing the flip. If it's really going to work out, you got to start seeing something in year 3. It's year 2. He had a bad injury start off the year. We'll see. Back to the injuries. Mobley, if they treat, and they'll be very cautious. I'll tell you right now, folks, wouldn't be surprised if Mobley doesn't play for a week. When you have a calf strain, it's going to be out for a while. Levert, I don't know what's going on with Levert. He's definitely banged up. Okoro never looked right coming back.
From the shoulder? No.
I can see Okoro taking some serious time off. And in fact, I didn't find it surprising he's not on the bench right now. I see some major rehab recovery time for him. Like, I could see this being weeks, not just games, weeks. I think Okoro's going to be out for a while.
So that means, you think that means that they're off the market? Are they going to trade him banged up?
Everybody says the same thing. The Cavs are going to make some move. It's just a mystery grab bag of what that is. And again, for those who don't pay attention enough to the NBA, the Cavs are right on the luxury tax line. Wouldn't surprise teams that they actually try to get under, so that way they don't go under these certain provisions going forward, which could really hurt the Cavs with free agency and stuff. So it wouldn't be surprised they take a player, take less money on, so that way they get underneath the cap, so they don't get slapped with certain things down the road where they can't do certain things. And the Cavs are getting there. Next year, Cavs are going to – I'm going to tell you this, fans. Ty Jerome, not going to probably be here next year. Levert, I'd be stunned if Levert's here. Niang, I know Niang drives people crazy. He actually had some minutes last night. They're valuable. He's not going to be around. And like to Rob's point, next year we are going to be saying, how's Bates? What's going on with him? Is Thor a real player? Like, these are things we're going to start coming up in discussions because the Cavs are going to have to get some of these players in position. That's for next year, not this year. I hate to say it. This is good for us, those Cavs fans. They're a little bit of cruise control. You can't freak out after a loss to the Rockets. They'll be all right.
No.
Things will be all right. They have such a lead now. It's unbelievable. So, in the East, when it comes to the East. Now, we're going to have to do this more later because we are almost an hour and 10 in. So, I guess we'll do this for next week. We'll do more of the Buckeyes championship. I don't know if you know they played. Maybe they won. They did a nice job. Kudos. The Browns just make news right before we come on the air. I actually didn't have much Brown stuff prepared, and Tommy Rees really caught my eye with what he said, so we had to talk about it. So
it's the off season, Andy. We shouldn't even talk Browns.
No, I've learned as Browns fans, our off season is really our end season.
We can't help it. We can't help ourselves. You know that?
The mystery of being good is in the air. Anything is possible. Click and subscribe to Chalk Talk. We will do a lot on the Buckeyes. I actually want to do some on the Irish too. We'll see what happens between now and then. We'll review the NFC, AFC, and the Cavs will play the Rockets again. Quick turnaround, and they play the Sixers. Sixers are bad. They should be able to mop that up a little bit, and away we go. Rob, final thoughts here as we go into the weekend.
Okay, a couple of great football games. I'm going to take the Commanders and Chiefs in the Super Bowl and look for these ride them Chiefs Kelsey props, Jaden Daniels props over rushing. Look for Kelsey anytime touchdown. and over in the Commanders-Eagle game. And we're going to come back. We're going to do some shorts tomorrow with some best bets over the weekend, and hopefully we'll keep cashing. I think I'm going to stay away from the association for a while. That's a little bit hectic. I don't know what the hell. I mean, maybe just some totals, but it's crazy right now.
I've been hit or miss. I had a great day Tuesday. Not terrible. I hit the Cougars. Cougars did win big. But boy, the Hawks. If you can figure out the Hawks, congrats.
Yeah. I followed you there. That was crazy.
I have no idea what to say about it. They can't beat the Pistons, can't beat the Bulls. I don't know.
How about that A&M game? They were up by 8 with a minute left, and then they shit the bed.
I've watched A&M play a lot this year. They're really good. They're long and they're athletic. The SEC is no joke. Real quickly, and I am the opposite fan on this, for Buckeyes basketball fans, if this team stays calm, there's raw athletic talent there. They're just raw. I haven't seen a team like this in a while for Ohio State. Like, they're not bad. They're just wild young kids playing on the floor.
I have not much confidence in Diebler, though. But he can't rein him in. I don't have a whole lot of confidence.
Yeah, it's a weird team.
Yeah.
I want to say this one more time, and I'm a Boilermaker fan. Yeah. That team couldn't miss the last 5 minutes.
But they
perish.
They do have some talent, and they are fun to watch when they're on.
But again, I'm going to say this again in asterisks. If this team makes the tournament and you play in these pools, which I do, where you have to pick a low seed, not crazy to take the Buckeyes. They're a weird, wild, young team.
Yep.
They can beat anybody. They can lose to anybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can see it in that game. It was wild. They beat Kentucky, and then they can turn around. They got blown out by Maryland or somebody.
Yeah.
It's like they're so weird, up and down. But anyways, I did want to make that note. Credit to my partner who told me to take the Buckeyes. Of course, I couldn't. I don't bet. By the way, I don't bet against the Boilermakers or Cavs, Browns, or Guard. I can't out of my heart. I can't do it. But I as a Boilermaker fan, I was like, holy shit, like, God, Buckeyes are actually talented. They're just wild. Don't know what to say. The wild bunch Buckeyes. Okay. Well, we somehow did an 80-minute show now talking Buckeyes National Championship. And we will talk about the Buckeyes National Championship because there's a lot to digest there. Rob here. I'm Andy here. Good night. Goodbye. Au revoir. See the shorts. Click on Chalk Talk. Big announcements to come. Goodbye.
Best of luck. Bye-bye.